Alright, so we've been working in some previous videos on the pivot, like the outside pivot, hitting that pivot, hitting this one where we come here. And we have a footwork drill where you're not necessarily using a partner or anything, where we're just working, hitting that pivot, hitting this pivot. Let's talk about how to actually put this into play and how to do this against a defending opponent, someone that moves around, and how to blend it with your punches in a real situation. So what I need to do here is actually what I like to do. This isn't always going to be the case. What I'd like to do is freeze a person up with my punches. It doesn't mean that they necessarily have to give me this look. If they give me this look, that's great. You can do anything you want. Like you can set this up with some punches. If they give you this look, you could just stay square and go to the body. You could hit angles. You could hit takedowns if you're talking about that. MMA. If you're talking about a kickboxing or Muay Thai situation, they give you that look. You can dig into the legs. It's like a free-for-all for a moment while they're there. But you can't always count on everybody having that type of reaction to your punches. The type of reaction that you're wanting to get, though, at least, is for them to freeze and plant their feet. So if they actually do that, that gives you an opportunity to hit this move. If you practiced it enough and it's in your your lexicon of moves, you're going to be able to pull this off quick. So what I want to do, and there's a time and a place for arm punches. And when I say arm punches, I don't mean necessarily muscling like tough guy arm punches. These are arm punches. These are arm punches, right? But this is too. Just throwing. I could be standing here like this and just throwing. And it's a setup. If you've got the person to respect your punches, now when you throw, I just throw those out there. Nate Diaz does this all the time. Good boxers do this all the time. They vary between weight transfer and arm punches. I throw my arm punches perfect. They were fast. They got the reaction what I want, which is her feet are planted. Now I hit my angle. I can go to the body. I can come up underneath this arm. I can follow that up. Another way to do it is step now, pivot, turn. Now I've got my angle. Now what's going to happen realistically is when you pivot and get these angles, they don't always need to be 45 degrees or even 90 degrees. Like, they can be very subtle. You don't necessarily have to do the whole 90-degree pivot every time. Even 45 is sometimes overkill. It's very subtle. You just need to be off the center line a little bit and not in range for their counter so much. What's going to happen lots of times, though, is as you go to do it, you set it up with your punches, you get them to pause for a second, you get your angle, they're going to turn and face you. When they turn and face you, that's your opportunity to go for another angle. Oftentimes we see people practicing this type of thing. Stand here for me. With either on a bag, or maybe with a coach that has a body pad, or they're just working it with a partner. You see a lot of this stuff where the person's just standing there and then they're going, here's an angle, shoe shine. Here's another angle, and I'm doing all this stuff. And then I get this other angle, and I get this other angle. Now, if you're explosive and you're efficient with it, that can look really cool, but who the hell is standing there not moving at all the whole time? No one. The way that angles work, and this is the same way that they work in a Muay Thai or kickboxing situation, same way they work in a boxing situation, same way they work in a wrestling situation, even judo. Good footwork is good footwork, good angles are good angles. When I get an angle on her, she's going to turn and face me. That's an opportunity to cut it the other way. Then I've got a short window of opportunity to then follow that up and hit the strikes that I want to hit, okay? So, from this standpoint, if I'm setting this up, let's say I'm setting this up with my jab, just like we worked in that other video on the bag drill. I hit my jab, I notice that she stopped moving. Great. I hit my pivot, I get this shot off. Look, she's turning to face me because she doesn't want to stay there. That's when I move just a little bit. So the movements don't have to be great. All right? They're small movements. You don't have to jump from one side to the other because you're allowing the person to wind it up. It's the same thing if we're wrestling. If we're wrestling and I go to hit an arm drag, I've got an angle on her. Let's say I start trying to take that angle and take the back. She turns to face me. Now that takedown is there. When someone turns to face you hard, they're giving you an opportunity to get all the way to the other side. So it's not about necessarily jumping from one side to the other. Now let's talk about what happens when someone doesn't give you that freeze up, stop in their tracks look. A lot of people don't give you that look. It's not their style to stop so much. They don't defend like this or even like this. They're moving. They have a lot of movement. They're flowing and moving. How you approach this is a little bit different. You need to take that into account, and you need to take their movement and cut the angle when they're moving, okay? So if she's giving me this outside look, and I'm going to throw my punches, and I even try my quick arm punch setups, and she's not freezing, I have to wait for this moment where, oh, she's moving this way, she's moving this way. Can I get her to move this way? There we go, there we go. That's when I start setting up my angles, okay? So it has to happen organically with the flow of their movement. You're catching them, all right? So I'm moving, she's moving this way. Maybe she's moving this way. I stop her, she moves this way. Stop, there is an angle. There's the pivot. Now she turns to face me. There's another angle. Pivot, the shots get off, okay? So start to kind of blend that mentality in when you do bag drills, when you shadow box. Start visualizing an opponent or a partner that stops dead. And when you throw your punches to set them up, they stop dead. Great. Now I dig the body. Now I get my angle. All right? And then start visualizing when you're shadow boxing, you hit in the bag, and when you're sparring, start blending it in against people that move. They're always moving. They're always moving. Their hands are always up. They're never giving you that look. How do you set it up? You pull them into the situation that you want by cutting off, waiting for them to change direction. When they change direction, that's when you step in for the pivot. Last thing I want to mention, this is my favorite combo to hit an outside pivot on somebody. 1, 2, 3. That can be arm punches if you want for speed. 1, 2, 3. Her hands are up, her feet are planted. I now step. Shoulder goes forward, body shot, reload, pivot. She turns to face me. Great. Now I take the other side. Okay? So 1, 2, 3 to set up a body shot is one of my favorite combos, and this is one of my favorite ways to get an angle on somebody. 1, 2, 3, body, pivot, she turns her face, great, I go to the other side and get off the shots that I want to get.